Mr. AI,
Hello, how may I assist you today?
I'm looking to travel to Washington, D.C. Help me plan it out.
Awesome. Let's get started. Where will you be traveling from?
Traveling from Nairobi, Kenya.
Perfect choice. When do you plan to leave?
Tomorrow.
Sweet. When do you plan to come back?
Just after a week.
Got it. So, how many peeps are going to join you on this trip?
Just me and my wife.
Nice. A trip for two. What kind of activities are you interested in doing in Washington, D.C.?
I think skiing and visiting the museum would be awesome.
Great choices. All right. I'll need your email to send you the travel plan.
My email is
Give me a moment. The travel plan has been emailed to you. Have a great trip.
And here in my email you can see an email just entered. Exciting trip to Washington, D.C. You can see the details for the trip. So it even finds flights that I can hop onto. You can see Air France, the details for the flight etc. The resorts that I can stay at while at Washington, D.C. You can see them there. And even their details, total rates per night etc. And even activities I can indulge in while at Washington. So an entire travel plan. Amazing stuff. So in simple terms, this is an AI travel assistant. You simply call it and it helps you book your travel. So for example, if you're looking to travel to Washington DC or India or I don't know, wherever it is, it helps you plan it out. Think of how travel agencies stand to benefit from this because it makes the process of planning out someone's travel much more efficient. So if you're wondering how you can build one, let me show you. So for this, we're going to be building the entire agent using two platforms, that is Vapi and N8N. So Vapi will handle the voicebot part, the AI voice assistant, and N8N will handle coming up with the travel plan. Okay, so go ahead and search vapi.ai. As you see on this URL part, just search vapi.ai. If you don't have an account, go ahead and create one, then log into your dashboard. Once you log in, you'll go ahead and click on create assistant. I'll give your assistant a name, something like AI travel agent, something of the sort. Click blank template, then go to the link in the description to access all the resources I'm going to be using in this video. So that includes the system prompt for the voicebot and the N8N workflow to come up with the travel plan and sending it to the email. So for that, go and access those two resources completely for free. Then come back here. So once you click blank template, click on create assistant. So you'll arrive at something of the sort. What you want to do is paste in the system prompt over here. So here under model configurations, just expand it, then scroll down till you see system prompt and paste it over here. So of course yours will be empty, just Control V, or if you're using Mac, Command V, whatever, just paste it in here. So just quickly on the model configurations for the AI, I'm using GPT-4o. For that, I'm having the AI wait for the user to speak first before starting the conversation. So I'll go through the system prompt and what was going through my mind when I was coming up with it. It's a simple system prompt, so don't worry about that. So you are Jen, an enthusiastic travel assistant. Your role is to help users prepare a travel plan based on the details they provide. So here's the task. Obtain from the user details you will need to prepare a custom travel plan suited for them. That's the task. So specifics in regard to how this task will be executed, we list it down over here. So first, obtain the required details from the user one at a time in the following order: origin, destination, departure date, return date, travelers, that's the number of travelers, activities, and finally the email. One at a time. This is very critical. So this is emotional prompting, where you just tell it something like, hey, this is very critical, this is very imperative to the success of our business, we appreciate you, Mr. AI. It just helps the AI to put more effort to ensure things are right. So the second task is then send the details to the prepare travel plan function to prepare the travel plan. After sending the details, tell the user, kindly give me a moment to look into this. If you are forced to speak, just say, thanks for your patience, I'm almost done. Never say there's an issue performing the function. Okay. Then finally is once the travel plan has been emailed to the user, cheerfully let them know. Okay. So can continue here, context about the business, what we do, like this is the services about this business etc. So we won't cover this on this tutorial because it's not important. The important part is how we have the AI come up with a travel plan using N8N. So here in the notes section, I normally have this paragraph that I paste in all the voice bots I normally build. So what you can do is just take a snapshot of this, then ask ChatGPT to extract the contents of this image into text. Then what you do is copy it, then save it in a text document within your desktop etc, something of the sort, because you're going to be pasting it in all the voice bots you built. I call it prompt seasoning, and it helps your AI conversations sound more natural, more human-like. So when generating responses, aim for a casual and conversational tone. Think of how you might talk to a friend in a relaxed setting. Use informal language and common colloquial expressions such as so, yeah, and okay. Avoid formal language and corporate jargon. Instead, focus on making the dialogue flow naturally using contractions like yo instead of you are, and inserting filler words occasionally to mimic natural speech patterns. Strive to make responses sound warm and approachable using everyday vocabulary and sentence structures. This is a voice conversation, so keep your responses short, like in a real conversation. Don't ramble for too long, okay? So paste it in all the voice bots you build, and come thank me later, okay? So here's more cautioning. When I was testing the voice bot, some mistakes I noticed, I came and fixed them over here. So one is, do not dare say that the travel plan has been prepared and sent until you get a response from the tool showing that it was successful. This is extremely critical. This I was noticing when I was testing the voice bot. It executes the function to come up with a travel plan, but it doesn't wait to get a response that the travel plan has been emailed successfully. So it just goes ahead and says, oh, Mr. User, kindly check your email, the travel plan has been sent. We don't want that. We want the AI to wait for the tool to respond before telling the user to check their email. So after obtaining all trip details, ask the user for their email address. Just some more cautioning to ensure things are right. Then once you do that, ensure you click publish. I can never emphasize enough on that because I've experienced it so many times where you make so many changes to your AI agent, then you forget to save by clicking publish. Then what you do is you'll go to this tools tab, then all of the changes you made to your system prompt disappear. It's quite frustrating. That's why I need to ensure you click publish. Okay, so once you do that, now let's create the travel plan tool. So for that, click on tools, scroll down here. I already have the tool created, but I'll create a new tool over here. Click on create tool. It's a custom tool. Then what you want to do is give your tool a name, description, etc. For that, I'll go back to the tool I had created and I'll guide you on that. So I gave my tool the name of prepare travel plan. This tool is used to prepare a travel plan based on the user's provided details. Okay, so this is what the AI will use to know that this is the tool to come up with a travel plan. Okay, so ensure this is toggled off because we want the AI not to continue with the conversation until the tool gives back a response. Very critical. Then here in some parameters, these are the pieces of information that need to be extracted from the conversation before executing this function. So on your side, what you'll do is just click on add property over here, then give your property a name. The first one is the email. Okay, the description, put it in there accordingly. Is it required? Click apply. So I'll take you through all the parameters that we've created over here. So the first one is the email. So just put the name there. The description is this is the user's email address to send the travel plan to. The data type is string and it's required. Click apply. We go to the next one, which is the origin. This is where the caller is traveling from. It's required. Click apply. Next one is the travelers. This is the total number of travelers who will be at the trip. This one is a number, not a string. It's required. Click apply. The next one is activities. This is any activities that the caller wants to participate in while at the destination. It's a string. Required. Click apply. Return date. This is the day they want to be back from their travel. For example, next week Wednesday or next month on 5th. Do not dare format into date time format. I emphasize this is because the AI will try being smart and try extracting the date by itself, but it will get it wrong because it doesn't have context on what's the current date and time. So if I say I want to book tomorrow, or rather I want to start my travel tomorrow, and you can see in my calendar tomorrow is on 8th of July, the AI doesn't know that tomorrow is 8th of July. The AI doesn't know that today is 7th July. That's why it's critical that we have the N8N workflow extract the date on our behalf, and we'll use this for searching for flights, etc. Next one is the destination. This is where the caller is traveling to. It's a string. Click apply and ensure it's required. Departure date. This is the day the caller to start their travel. What type of English is that? I didn't even notice that. This is the day the caller is looking to start their travel. For example, next week Wednesday or tomorrow. Do not dare format into daytime format. then click apply. Then yeah, we're done on that. So next we will need a server URL in order to send these pieces of information to. So for that we'll have to go to N8N. On your site just search n8n.io. If you don't have an account, go ahead and click get started. You have a 14-day free trial on the cloud platform for N8N. If you want to have this completely for free, you can self-host your N8N. There are so many tutorials out there, so you can go and search how to self-host N8N. Then you're able to use it completely for free forever. So once you log into your dashboard, you'll click on create a workflow. Then you want to import you want to import the blueprint that I just provided. So you click on these three dots over here, then import from file. Then you'll import the travel agent that I have provided to you. Okay, so you'll arrive at something of the sort. What you want to do is click on this very first module, double click on it, then click on this specific URL in order to copy it. Think of this URL like the address that will receive these pieces of information. The way you'd send your friend a letter, you need their physical address. So this is kind of like their physical address, the address that will receive the information. Take that, come paste it over here. Then you'll click on save. Then go back here to assistants. To your assistant, click on tools. Then on this drop down, select that specific tool. Then click on publish. Then I'll continue taking you through the entire workflow so that you understand what is happening. So we receive the details over here. You can see the details that come in from Vapi. I'll minimize on the headers over here. You can see down here the arguments come in, the email, origin, destination, etc. All those details. Okay, then we move on over here. We want to save all those pieces of information into variables that can be accessed later on in the workflow. For that, you can see origin here. I drag in the specific origin. So this is the name of the variable. You can see that that's the name of the variable. Then its value will be dragged in from the left. So I'll minimize headers, then go down till I see my arguments. So whenever I see origin, let me drag in origin. So I don't need to do that twice. It's already done that. Okay, then do the same thing for the other fields, the destination, departure date, return date, all those details. Then we move on to the next node, which in this case is an AI agent node that extracts the airport code, because in order to search for flights we need the airport code for the origin and the departure date. So yes, we have said the origin is Nairobi, but we need the airport code for Nairobi, which is in this case NBO. So that's why we want the AI to determine that. So for that we provide it with all those details, the origin, then you drag in the origin over there. Okay, I don't need to do it twice, of course. Destination, departure date, return date. So we provide it with these specific pieces of information. So this agent node, as I've said, comes up with the airport code for the origin and the destination, but it also extracts the date, okay, in ISO format, as you can see on the right over here. Okay, so that's critical. Then down here in the system prompt is where the instructions are in. So turn the origin and destination into their airport codes. Then make sure the departure and return dates are in the future, not in the past. Then if I scroll down here, you can see here's the current date and time. Then we provide it in there. This is in the now variable. Okay, this is how you insert the current date and time into your prompt, is by doing curly braces twice. So then you do now, just click on now. It's already inbuilt into N8N, so you don't need to type it in. So we continue over here. Then there's a specific format we want the AI to provide its answers. That's why in this AI agent node I haven't mentioned, ensure this is toggled on to require the output in a certain format. Okay, then we'll define what format that needs to be in. So within this, so how do we define that? We define that using a JSON schema, which we define below here. So you don't need to, this, it looks complex but actually not. It just defines the specific format that the output needs to be in. So we specify those properties. We need the origin, it's of type string, so the data type is string, and we give it a description as this is the origin. Do the same thing for the destination, departure, and the return, etc. So that's in place. Now we go on to the next node. So this next node is taveli.com, and what it does is it simply just enables us to do a Google search, because we're trying to find activities the user can indulge in while at the destination. So for that, the format of the Google search is something like activities in specific destination. So they've said they want to, let's say, do skiing and visiting the museum in Washington DC. So activities in destination. So that's the format. It's kind of like me going to Google search over here and just doing places to visit the museum in Washington DC. Then I just do a Google search. The good thing with Tavily is it does a Google search but gives back the results in a format that's suitable for LLMs, for large language models. That's the AI models. So for that, you need to connect to your Tavily account. Of course, you don't have an account, so just go and search tavily.com. Then go ahead and create an account with your Google account, all those nice stuff. So you'll just click sign up, then log into your dashboard. I already have an account, so I'll log in. So immediately you log in, you'll see your API key down here. So just copy on that, then go back here to the N8N workflow. Then scroll down here, ensure that the authentication is generic credential type. It's a bearer auth. And here's where you'll connect to your Tavily account. So I've already connected to mine, but I'll click update on that so that you see where to paste in the API key. So you come and paste it in here. Once you do that, I'm sure you'll see a button here to connect. Once you do that, you're all set. So just to go through what's happening here, you can see the format that Tavily's APIs expect the query to come in is in this way. So it's a JSON object, and here's the query. You can see it's the activities in specific destination, and that's what we're dragging from the left. So once again, you don't have to do this because it's already done for you, but what I did is just went to set fields over here where activities was. I just drag it in there in destination. So I drag in destination there. Then yeah, that's it. Then we move on to the next node. So the next one, once you have activities the user can indulge in, we need to find where they'll stay at, a hotel, a resort, etc. For this, we're not using Tavily, but rather Google's SAP API. So SAP API just enables you to do Google searches through their API. The difference with Tavily is it doesn't give it in a format that's suited for LLMs. It just gives you back the search results from a normal Google search. But the good thing is with SAP API, you're able to specify what thing you're trying to search for. So if you're trying to search for flights, there's a Google Flights API for that. If you're trying to search for hotels, there's an API for that. If you're trying to search for whatever it is, I'll show you. Let me just do that practically. Let's go to sapapi.com. Then go ahead and register. You can do that with your Google account. I already have an account, so sign in. Sign in with my Google account. Then once you log in here, you can see your API key. Just click copy on that. Let us go back here to N8N. Click on that node for the results. Then here's where you connect to your SAP API account. So for that, this is different from the previous node. Ensure this is set to predefined credential type because N8N already has connection to SAP API. So if you scroll down here to to the credential types, you scroll down till you'll see SAP API. Okay. So once you select on that, you'll come down here to connect to your SAP API account. I've already done that, so I'll click edit on that. Here's where you paste in your API key. You'll see a button to connect. Then you'll be all set. Then down here, let's go back to SAP API so that we see the documentation on how we can access it. So for this, we're trying to search for hotels or resorts, etc. So I'll click on Google Hotels API. Then we're able to see to interact with that API, this is the endpoint URL. So that is what you're seeing over here. But you can notice here, it says that you have to have the parameter engine as Google Hotels because you're trying to search for hotels or resorts. And that's if I scroll down here, you're able to see in the query parameters, the engine is set to Google Hotels. And there's more fields that are required to interact with this API. So you can see here, there's a parameter Q, which is the search query itself, and many more stuff. So you can scroll down here, check-in date, check-out date, all those nice stuff. So we'll define those when we are calling the API. So go back here, you can see in the query here, we pass in the destination. We're trying to search for hotels in the destination, in this case, which is Washington DC. So for that, you drag it from the set fields node. We're trying to drag the destination, so we drag it in there. Once again, don't do this twice where you just come and paste it in there and that's already been done. That's not going to work, so you just drag it in there. Then same case for check-in date, you drag in the departure, drag it in there. Same case to check-out date, drag in the return date. The adults, you drag in the travelers, etc. Then you leave sort by default. So let's move on. Then let's go to the next node, which is similar to this node for searching for hotels, but in this case we're trying to search for flights. So for this same case, we're working with SAP API. You've already connected to your SAP API account. Difference is now you can see the engine changes from Google Hotels to Google Flights. If you go back here to the Google Flights API, you're able to see that the engine has to be Google Flights. So that's very critical. The URL, the endpoint URL stays the same, so that you don't have to change. Then scrolling down here, you're able to see the fields that need to be passed to the API. So there's a departure ID, which is the airport code for the origin, for that to get from. If I minimize the results node, under this node you're able to see the origin, so that's what is dragged in there. Arrival ID is the destination, drag it in there. Outbound date is the departure, just drag it in there. And the return date accordingly. Adults is the number of travelers. We get that from the set fields node, which we drag it in there. So yeah, amazing stuff. Let's move on. Then once you have the resorts that the hotels that the user can stay at, the flights that they can hop onto to reach their destination, the activities they can indulge in while at the destination, we have all we require to come up with a travel plan. So for that, we go ahead to create the email that will be sent, because we're sending the travel plan over email. So for that, we're working with this AI agent node. So I'll double click on that to see what's happening. The output of this node is something like this. I think like just showing the output that we're trying to have will help explain what is happening in order to come up with that output. So this is the output we want. It's an email but in HTML format, because if you see the email over here, you can see it looks well formatted. It looks beautiful, pretty and stuff. So if it's not a HTML email, it will look so bland, so boring. And that's why we need to have it in HTML format to have it well structured. So for that, let me just show you the instructions that guide the AI on how it will come up with the HTML email. So you're able to see the system instructions over here. You're an expert email writer specializing in creating travel plans. Your job is to output an HTML. Wait, depending on who taught you English, me I'll say H, but others will say H. So I'll say here it's like, is it an HTML or a HTML? Don't mind me anyways. An HTML email with clickable links. You must output a subject and an email body in separate parameters. Objective is you'll receive information about a vacation plan. Break the email into 3 sections: flights, resorts and activities. Then the output, the email should be structured as HTML that will be sent through email. Use headers to separate the sections. Add a horizontal line to end each section. Then there's more details on the subject there, the introduction, the flights, the resorts, etc. So you can just pause on that and see all those details. But yeah, just to define one thing is you can notice there's a system message here and the user message. The system message, you normally use it when you're giving the AI instructions that it will use every time this workflow is run. Every time this node is executed, it will use these specific instructions to give an output. But now the user message will contain the pieces of information that are going to be changing every single time. For example, if this time the user says they want to fly to Dubai, there'll be different flights that are going to Dubai, different hotels they can stay at Dubai. So those dynamic pieces of information, you normally pass them within the user message. And that's what we're doing over here. I'll click expand on that, then explain further on what's happening. So once again, you're able to see what is the output that we want. This is what will be sent to the AI in order to come up with the email. This is all the information, all the flights, the hotels, the activities, all the pieces of information. That's what you're seeing here. We drag in the information from the left to the center over here. So flights from the origin, so that's in the set fields node. We drag in the origin over there, which by the way, you don't have to do this. I'm actually just showing you the process that I went through to come up with this structure that you're seeing over here. So flights from Nairobi, Kenya, which is the origin, to the destination is what you drag in there. On the departure date, so you drag in the departure date there. To the return date, so you drag in the return date there. Then there could be several flights that are brought back from doing a search, but we only want to display the first 2 flights. So you can see here on the right we have one Air France, the second one is by KLM. So we need to pass the information there. So the first one is the name of the airline company. So for that, we'll go to the flights node over here, minimize on search metadata till we see best flights. So that's what we're trying to use. So I'll scroll down here. You're able to see the airline over there. That's what we drag in there. The time is departing. We drag it in there. That's within the departure object. Then we move on. And the number of minutes it will take for the flight. So we just drag it in there, the duration. Then features of the flight, we'll drag in the extensions variable that you're seeing over here. So all these extensions is what we pass in the features over here. So you can see there are several features: average leg room, Wi-Fi available, in-seat USB outlet, etc. Then the price, we drag it in there accordingly, as well as the trip type, just drag it in there accordingly. The point is, one, you don't have to change anything over here because this has already been done on your side, but just to show you the thought pattern that went through filling this information in accordingly. So just scroll down. We'll do the same for the second flight, then we'll do the same thing for the results. So for the results, let me just scroll down here. We need to pass in the hotel name, so I'll minimize on this flights node. We need to get the results node here. Minimize search metadata. We want to get the hotels, so that's under brands over here. Then the first brand, not other brands, it's in properties. So here under properties, you're able to see the details. So the first one is High Road Hotel, or rather just drag in the name of the hotel there, the link to the hotel's website. Under images, we drag in the first image URL that you're seeing here. This is the original image, just drag it in there. The rates per night, let me just scroll up here. If I expand on this, you're able to see them there. The rates per night, drag it in there. Total rates is under total rate over here, drag it in there accordingly. So we do the same thing for the nearby places, the amenities, all those details. So we do that for, I think, 3 hotels or 3 resorts. Then we move on to the activities, which we do the same thing from the activities node from Tavili. So here you'll just drag in the information in accordingly. But you get the point, the thought pattern in terms of filling this up. Then we move on. In this case, in the chat model, we're working with GPT-4o Mini. Once again, work with a more powerful model. I was just trying to get some free credits, man. So, but on your side, if you can get access to the best of the best models, go ahead, like GPT-4, GPT-4.1, and the cloud models. Just look for the powerful models that are affordable, then you can work with those. Then, one thing I forgot to mention is ensure this is toggled on to require the output in a specific format. Okay, so you can see the format we need. It is the subject and the email body, which we define. Let me just go to the output parser itself. You're able to see we define it using the JSON schema below. So the JSON schema just guides this node on how it should output the results of the execution. So we pass in the properties. The first one is the subject, it's a string, and the description is this is the email subject. Same case to the email body, and all of them are required. So we move on. So once that's in place, we need to send the email. So that's what this node does. So on your side, ensure you connect to your Google account. I've already done that, but I'll just click edit on this so that you see how you do that. Good thing is you're connecting to it via OAuth. OAuth is the simplest way to connect. Otherwise, you'd have to go and get, I don't know, your API key, like there's so many credentials you'd have to go through in order to connect manually. But when you have OAuth, you just click sign in with Google, then you just sign in there you'd normally sign in. Once you're done that, we can send the email. So the recipient pass in the recipient's email address that we get from the set fields node over here, which we pass in the email accordingly. Then the subject in there accordingly that we get from the previous node, we direct in the subject over there. The email type is HTML, and that's why we pass in the email body, which is in HTML format. Then once we send the email, we need to tell the AI, to tell the user, Mr. User, kindly check your email because the travel plan has been sent. So for that, we have the response to webhook node that does that. So one thing, before you configure that, ensure this first node for the webhook is set to receive its response from this. So when you click on this drop down, there are 3 ways this webhook could get a response. So it's a response is sent immediately this workflow is started. So immediately data comes in, a response is sent. We don't want that. We want the response to be sent back using the respond to webhook node. Okay, that's why that's set that way. Then this workflow will search, is there a response to webhook node? Yes, there is, and this is the response that will be sent back to the AI. So you can see we're responding with JSON. There's several formats you can have it in. So it's a JSON. If you're familiar with Vapi, there's a way it expects tool called responses to be formatted in. So this is standard procedure. Is the results, which contains a list of results. In this case, we have one result, and we need to specify this result belongs to this specific tool. That's why we need to pass in the tool call ID. For that, we get that from the very first node, which is the webhook node that receives the data. So scroll down till you see your ID, you drag it in there. You don't have to do this because that's already done for you. Then in the results, we say an email has been sent with a travel plan for that specific subject. So you can see the results over there. And yeah, that's it. That's how you're able to work with Vapi and N8N to build a voice AI agent to help plan your travels. It could be your travels. You could be building this for a travel agency and think about how efficient of a planning process this is compared to going and doing the manual Google searches, searching for Google hotels, searching for flights, searching for all those things. That can be done by the AI system. This could be even sold to travel agencies as a form of lead magnet, as a way of just showing that this travel agency has the very best travel planning process, etc. So if you want to work with our team to build such powerful AI systems, there's a link in the description. Go ahead and book in a meeting with our team. Also, if you want to access the resources, remember to access that link in the description completely for free. That's it from me. Till next time, stay savvy. Peace.